Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JW Marriott Tomorrow Square. Welcome to the Silicon Dragon event. I have had the good fortune of working with Rebecca from day one. So, and this is, how many years now? This is like, it's year 6. Oh my goodness. It is year 6. And Rebecca has been doing an amazing job. She started doing Silicon Dragon events. Literally, I think we just kind of started in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and then this year you've added Tel Aviv, Taipei, New York, of course the Valley, Los Angeles. You've been everywhere, Rebecca. So really, well done on creating an amazing awareness. And the whole idea of Silicon Dragon is to debate, discuss the latest tech trends, to also find out from the leading experts, from the investors, and also from the entrepreneurs. It gives me great pleasure today because we've got an amazing panel on VR. Now everyone knows VR, right? VR? Yeah? AR, VR, right? Now, I just want to give a quick quote, because obviously I did my research. The headline story, guys: Chinese President Mr. Xi Jinping points to VR as helping establish the innovative world economy. Recently in Hangzhou at the B20, President Xi actually mentioned, he spoke of China's needs to establish an innovative world economy. That process, according to the president, will be aided by the growth of new technologies, and he said it, VR. So obviously, if the Chinese president's talking about VR, we know it's mainstream. We're going to spend the next half an hour talking to my distinguished panelists. Now, I want you to look at me, boring accountant at KPMG, and look at these guys, cool, trendy. Obviously, there is a bit of a disconnect, but maybe one day I'll be like these guys, okay? I aspire to be top investors and top entrepreneurs. Alvin, I'm going to start with you. How are things at HTC? And by the way, I was at the Li & Fung Explorium Research and Learning Lab this lunchtime over on Yishan Lu, and they have this very cool VR space with, of course, HTC equipment. Of course, goes without saying. So how is life at HTC?
Life is good. We are leading the world and making the lead even bigger every day. So can't complain.
And I've just got this, again, doing some research here. I've got this latest survey on VR, AR platforms that people are developing for. And this year, obviously, big players include HTC, Sony, Microsoft, and the other guys. But 48.6% apparently have said they're developing for HTC. Did you pay them to say that?
Actually, what's more important than the 46% is that it's the biggest number compared to any other platform. And for the next device, I think it actually doubles or something. So everybody who's developing for anybody else is now all trying to move to developing for Vive.
Okay, not Oculus Rift.
No.
Because it says here that they're catching up with you guys.
They're falling behind, actually.
Well, you would say that. You would say that. So, HTC doing well. Mark, how are things with you at Seahorn Capital? How's it all going in the Valley?
Well, I'm actually based in Los Angeles.
Okay, sorry.
And I do shuttle back and forth on what we call the Nerdberg between Los Angeles and San Francisco, because there's a whole lot of. I come from the video game world. I've been in video games for 20 years. I've been doing alternative finance for 15. I actually kind of started by applying film financing techniques to large video game productions. And in the last 5 years, I've gotten very involved in helping both seed fund and then raise equity for mostly content creators, both online video gaming, mobile gaming, and now I'm very long on VR and AR a little bit with VR.
So very long on VR.
Long on VR.
So how mainstream is VR going to become?
Well, I think that my personal opinion is that VR is going to have several applications, starting with entertainment, and then it will move to things like anything from healthcare to tourism to education. There will be tremendous applications in those areas. But it'll always be something that is more of a specialty thing for gamers or for people to experience something different. They probably won't spend 24 hours hopefully not 24 hours in VR. It's more of a thing that you do for, right now, a shorter period of time.
I have an 11-year-old son, and I think he's like spending about 20 hours right now. Stuff.
Yes.
He's at war with my wife.
See.
That's
So I mean, it's a complicated marketplace. But my belief is common to many of the analysts in the sector that we're going to see a tremendous uptake starting in 2018, 19, and 20 with consumers, especially entertainment consumers embracing virtual reality, both with downloaded product and with location-based entertainment.
Okay.
And I will say that even though I work with a number of very, very talented creators that hail from Europe that are looking to get into the VR nexus that is California and a little bit Washington State, a little bit New York, but mostly California, North and South. But China is an extremely important market right now.
Right.
For many reasons. I mean, one of the things that I think is going to be the most important for content creation is business model innovation. And I think that the Chinese marketplace is going to be the most active and most dynamic. And that's something that we haven't seen in consumer entertainment.
Okay.
Really.
Thanks. I'm going to go to Archer here. Archer, 51 VR. How's life at 51 VR? And then why do you think, because I think there's a lot of excitement here in China about VR. Why do you think Chinese consumers are so excited about VR?
Actually, I think I need a little bit of time to introduce myself.
Please, absolutely.
So, only a few people know Taiwan VR and know me. We are different with most of the VR contents. We focus on industry application, such as real estate, education, and car like this. So when we show our demo, show our product to our consumer, to feel how VR can help him, how VR can help our business customer through it, such as real estate. As the traditional way, the real estate company need maybe 6 or 9 months to make this real showroom. But right now, only need 6 days. We do it very, very fast, and it costs very low. Yeah. So he can show his showroom to the customer very fast and anywhere.
So it's like a pop-up, right? You're doing like a pop-up type of showroom.
It's actually the showroom is only a very small part for us. So pop-up is I can see you can see your future home, every detail, anywhere, like the how 20 hours the night change, such as that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Archer. Ryan, co-founder, general partner, Outpost Capital. So what are you guys working on?
Sure. So Outpost Capital.
And you're from the Valley as well, right?
Yeah. So I'm from the nerd area, which is from San Francisco, different from Mark, from the South Bay. From
so
the South California.
Does that mean you're a nerd?
Well, look at me, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Nerd? I think a few people are shaking their heads. Entertainer. Yeah, it's the hat. It's the cap.
Yeah. So for us, we are one of the first few VR VR focused fund that's based in the Bay Area. And I think what makes us special is that we have a strong tie to China. And as Marc mentioned, and I completely agree with, which is China plays a very important role in this VR industry, and the importance is gonna becoming more and more influential going forward. So for us, we focus on early stage investment in VR companies. Our sweet spot is more like Series A, C stage, and we can participate in a few Series A type of deals as well.
Do you see a lot of players now here in the China market that are developing those VR products?
Yeah, so there are a lot of VR startups in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, as to companies who can develop really competitive technology that can be applied to this already competitive landscape. There are not many, and as to companies that's really able to make a strong cash flow out of their business, there are not many as well, and 51 VR is one few. So
have you invested in 51 VR?
Unfortunately, no. But
why not?
So
could have talked to Archer right now.
we haven't met back then. So
Archer, do the deal. Do the deal right now.
We can always talk about this privately.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Guys, I'm going to come back. Alvin, Marc, I'm a Brit. Okay, I'm not American. I'm a Brit. So I've got to ask you, USA versus China. Okay, let's talk about USA versus. Who's got the best technology? Come on, Alvin. Don't sit on the fence.
Are you talking about a platform? Or are you talking about total ecosystem?
I think, well, let's talk about the platform, but then, of course, talk about the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of platform, globally everyone agrees that HTC has the best solution.
Right.
And it's not just because I work there, but it's actually every single reviewer, every single developer agrees on this.
Every developer agrees. China beating USA.
In terms of our...
Is that what we're saying?
But in terms of ecosystem, it's actually a pretty good mix. I mean, at the end of the day, I also run the RBCA, I also run the Live Export for HTC, and we're getting we got 1,800 applications for developers and technology companies who want to get US device. Right? And about half of them are coming from China, and about half of them are coming from the rest of the world. So what that tells me is that there is definitely a rich startup community of VR creators and technology providers in both sides.
Right. Marc, your views on that?
Well, I will say.
Okay, I'm just being provocative.
I'll say that HTC, because I work with many developers right now, HTC is absolutely the beloved platform for creation. And the other thing is it was developed as a collaboration between Valve Corporation and HTC, and neither could have done what they've done without each other. It was right. So it was actually a USA plus China or China plus USA, however you want to look at it. But I think the technology in many ways is there. There was a study I told you about, Perkins and Coy, a law firm in the US, global law firm, plus Upload VR, which is a small advocacy group growing based in San Francisco, did a poll of 700 VIP executives in the VR ecosystem. And the largest missing link that they came up with is compelling content. And I think that the technology we're seeing is kind of there for where it needs to be to start making a canvas for compelling experiences. Now the innovation has to come with the actual development. And companies like HTC and HTC themselves are being incredibly supportive of the development community. Probably more so than even Sony, who is more like trying to be like Apple iTunes as they approach VR. They'll make it available for people to attempt. But in terms of development support, we're seeing a tremendous amount.
And I think the interesting thing here is that if we look at all of those emerging applications for VR, it's across a very wide spectrum, isn't it? It's across business, but it's across the consumer as well.
Well, again,
that's what makes it so attractive.
Entertainment is likely to be the driving force initially. not just gaming. I mean, the potential for experiences go beyond just shooter games or things like that.
Absolutely, and I think that's the interesting thing, just talking about experiential, because last night I was having dinner with a good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Thibaut Villet, the CEO of May.com. And May.com is they deal with all the big brands, all the high fashion brands, 2,000 different brands. They just got invested in by Alibaba as the fashion platform. And they just launched, and he was very, very proud, he just launched the latest, the VR video, the VR of May.com. And they launched it last week here in Shanghai. They had a little pavilion, but he was showing me just how much interest.
I think you're kind of pointing to one of the problems is there are so many potential applications.
Exactly.
And so many different VRs. I mean, cinematic VR or 360 video is very different than a fully immersive room-scale VR that you find on HTC Vive. And I think we should talk about 51 a little bit more, because here this is an application that is working in a very defined vertical. So.
Archer? Applications.
Actually, we are the top 3 developer with Wang in China. Top 3. We get the first one, web incubation. So we do.
In terms of users too, right?
Yeah, a lot of users.
What are B2B clients in the ecosystem?
Yeah, B2B or business. Maybe so far we have maybe almost 1 million people to experience VR.
Wow.
In our business model, because we sell our product to a lot of real estate companies. So every day people want to see the showroom every day. So a lot of products we give feedback, and we also feedback to HTC. So the new sphere is very cool because it's totally different with the other tracks. So we choose the value. So the only one that we sell with our content to our customer. So it's very good for highly support HTC.
Okay, we're gonna have to check it out, aren't we, everybody? 5.1 VR. After this, you're gonna do some demos outside, right?
I really hope maybe someone can experience. We have a game also. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Thanks, Archer. Ryan, just again looking at the innovation, between the US and China, and any particular views there? Are you also seeing the same? You're seeing a good development both in the US and here in China?
I think, in my opinion, what I say is China and US, they have their advantage in very unique ways. So in this whole landscape of VR AR industry, US is leading the innovation in terms of technologies. And so for example, now we have the first generation of the VR headsets, but in the second generation, you can have inside-out position tracking, you can have eye tracking, 4BT, rendering, visual tracking, all this technology integrated. And US is definitely leading in terms of these enabling technologies for the next generation of headsets. But on the other hand, China is leading in terms of consumer adoption. So I think China is very unique, no matter on the high end and on the low end of VR headsets. So on the high end, compared to the US, China is unique in a way that it has existing infrastructures built up already. For example, the internet cafes, the VR, the theme parks, the shopping malls, and average people are able to experience a very high-end VR experience through internet cafes and shopping malls, right? They don't need to be an expert. Versus, on the US market, you have to spend over $1,000 to buy the machine first, and spend another $1,000 to buy the headset, and then spend some money to buy some games so that you can try it out. So on the high end, definitely I see a very clear adoption curve in China versus on the US, I don't see a very clear adoption curve. And on the low end, basically you don't need to spend much money to buy the cardboard. Basically, it's free, and you can just put your smartphone in. And the gain on that side is basically the difference between the mobile market size between China and US, and obviously China is the biggest mobile market at this point. Nobody have questions about that. So to put it simple, I see that US is definitely leading the technology, but China is definitely leading in terms of VR adoption.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ryan. And that's a great way of putting it in terms of the consumer adoption, because I think the amazing thing here in China, as we all know, is the speed, right? Just the speed of that consumer adoption is truly amazing. Alvin, coming back to you, what can we expect in the next 12 months? Any other really cool things that we can expect in the world of VR?
Well, I think one of the big things that's coming out next month is Google Daydream. I think that's going to be something that opens up mobile VR into a much higher level of quality and make it somewhat more acceptable. Right now, most people who use mobile VR for more than 10 minutes probably feel a little nauseous. Not the case for Vive, by the way.
Of course,
but,
with the exception of Vive.
Yeah, well, we're not mobile VR, so I think when that device comes out, the idea is that over the next probably 2 to 3 years, mobile VR will get into the hundreds of millions of units in terms of adoption. And that's really going to make it somewhat of a mainstream platform.
Yeah.
There will be different offshoots from that. And it's, I think it will take off the same way Android took off.
Yeah.
And HTC is also one of the major partners with Google on the Daydream initiative. There will be definitely a lot of super cool content and accessories coming out. I think that's really the kind of fun thing that's I'm really looking forward to, because there's about 10,000 developers working on Vive today, and most of them have not released product yet. We probably have about 800 apps released, and over
10,000 developers.
10,000 developer companies.
Yeah, companies.
Yeah. So over the next year to 2 years, there should be thousands, if not tens of thousands, of VR titles coming out, and they're going to come out in much higher quality than what you've seen in the past. But these are the guys who are spending a year or 2 years building them.
Right.
And I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to is VR movies. So there are companies putting in $100 million type productions for full-length VR interactive movies. That's going to be, I think, what really brings VR to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all exciting things. As well as I mentioned, accessories are going to be key. People are going to get their own trackable gloves, trackable steering wheels, trackable swords, moving chairs. It's going to bring another level of realism to the whole VR experience. I think people will start loving the virtual world more than they love the real world.
So we'll be able to identify all those nerds because they're carrying around gloves and swords. Mark, how about your views? A little bit of crystal ball gazing, looking ahead to 2017, 2018. You already said that 2018, 2019, we're going to see mass adoption. Any other thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think to Alvin's point, we haven't seen the higher level content come out that's going to sensitize and open up a broader market, and that's what I think is going to be exciting in 2017, 18, and beyond. I think back to the speed of the Chinese consumer adoption market. I'm working with several small developers, and they're already, one of them already has a title out on Vive, distributed through the Steam store, and we can see how many people are downloading and using the title. We immediately, for a small company based in Paris with offices in Los Angeles, they localized in Mandarin and French and English, and there's equal numbers of, not equal numbers, but about a third of the titles are being downloaded and used in China. And it's extremely important to get that kind of feedback quickly. And I think that's where every kind of interactive experience becomes its own business model. And the Chinese gaming market, which has grown enormously over the last 15 years, and really over the last, say, 10 years, and has created some of the strongest companies, some of the biggest companies. That's where we're going to see that amazing amount of fast innovation, is in seeing the iterative cycle and what works and what doesn't. And I think that there's going to be, that's where China could be leading. We're definitely neck and neck with the US market.
Okay, so exciting times ahead. Archer, how about your views on the future? Are you very bullish? Are you very positive about the future?
I have very, very confidence for future because right now we already can make break even. I think we are maybe the top 3 or 5 we are content companies.
So you don't need any money?
Yeah. but we still raise a lot of money. We already raised more than $30 million.
Okay.
So right now we can make even. Our team very proud of that because our business model at the beginning is to be,
Sure.
Like real estate, saving lots of money. Now, recently, the house price goes so fast, so they have lots of money to give us. I think.
So you're going to stay focused on all those rich property companies?
No. It's a timing. This timing we do this business, but finally we do a lot of contents in 2C. Because I think the headless will be real cheap, real easy to use. Everybody will have like a mobile phone. So we just create the best content in I think maybe one day, 3 or 5 years, you can buy house, car. At the very beginning, you will find a VR application to find, where is house? Finally, you pay for money, you will go to the communicate to take a look. I think it's maybe Jingdong or Ali, VR vision.
Yeah.
So it's a very good time for us.
An exciting time. Ryan, how about your views? Crystal ball gazing, the next 12 months, what should we all be investing in?
Sure. I definitely agree with the vision of Archer and Mark. But I think compared to their timeline, I'm a little bit less bullish in terms of the timeline. From an investor's perspective, I think right now we are definitely in an investment hype cycle. All the VR startups, the valuation is much higher than a rational valuation, and there are strong interest from professional investors and non-professional investors as well. And a lot of smart money, but a lot of dumb money as well. So I think at this point, it's very interesting that VR has just taken off, but in the next 1 to 3 years, something that's very likely to happen is we might enter an age of an investment winter of virtual reality, where for the investors, they went deeper into the industry and they found that VR is happening, but it's not happening that quickly. Right. It will become mainstream, but most likely it won't go mainstream within a year or two. Most likely it might take, 5-6 years.
2020? Well,
could
2016 now?
Yeah, like 2020 or 2012, I don't know. But regardless, I think for me as an investor, when I look at investment opportunities, I always try not to predict when virtual reality will go mainstream. I will apply different scenarios. For example, if everything goes very well and it takes just 3 years for VR to take off, what's going to happen to this company versus, if things are going really bumpy and eventually take 10 years for the industry to eventually take off, what's the scenario with that, right? If in the bad scenario, the case is not too bad, and in a good scenario, they have a chance to become a unicorn, then that's not a bad deal. Otherwise, I need to think carefully about the investment opportunity.
Indeed. Thanks, Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree, a really fascinating panel. I'm just watching the time. We are pretty much out of time, but I just wanted to get maybe your final thoughts. So Alvin, perhaps you could give me your final thought and a buzzword, because we like buzzwords, don't we?
My final thought is actually I think VR is going to happen a lot faster than most people think. I mean, it took 5 years for cell phone to sell more units than all PCs sold in 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? And we all know that technology in every single wave happens faster than the last wave. So this way, when you have an ability to enter a market with essentially $5 for or $10 for a plastic hardware device, to maybe $700, $800 for a high-end device, the average selling price can be very, very low to enter this market. And with the kind of compelling contents that what Mark's talking about, this industry within 3 to, I would say, 4 to 5 years, it will overtake the phone industry.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen, here at Silicon Dragon, Shanghai, 3 to 4 years.
4 to 5 years.
4 to 5. Testing you there.
There you go.
Mark, how about your views, your final thoughts?
Ryan's a friend, so I don't want to be saying too many bad things, but there's a little bit of like valuation deflation. I think this is a frontier tech that's going to have some big bursts. Sorry, Alvin, Sony PlayStation is going to come out with their VR this fall, and they're going to kill it. They are absolutely, there's so much pent-up demand for that. But it's going to be good for the entire ecosystem. It's going to be good because it's going to acclimate more people, and HTC is sitting with the highest quality product that has multiple applications across multiple sectors. So, I'm bullish. I agree that it's going to be an uptake. We're already seeing uptake. We're seeing the beginnings of it. And studies just keep coming out. Maryland's just dropped a report that is completely about VR going fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So,
and then the reports I'm reading. And by the way,
my word bullish.
HTC's at the top there, buddy. HTC, they're at the top. Which VR platform are you developing your next title for? 34.6% said HTC. Archer, what's your final thought?
Yeah, I think the next steps and 20 months, the best chance to invest VR or AR content. Because I really feel it's make all of those teams feel exciting every day, exciting. So for brand, for all of the investment, it's the best chance. Because right now the valuation is very low, I think, for their content.
Yeah. Maybe you need to talk to a good accounting firm to help you about that. I know somebody.
Any suggestions?
And obviously, you need a good law firm. Yeah, you need a good law firm. Ryan, final comments?
Sure. So definitely, I think right now one of the biggest.
By the way, we're all really, really bullish,
Right.
and you're not.
Not that so bullish. Well, to be specific, I'm bullish about the industry and the potential when the VR and AR industry has eventually take off, right? But I'm not that bullish about the timeline about when VR and AR is gonna take off. So I think it might happening pretty fast, like within 4 years or 3 years. But most likely, I think it's gonna take somewhere between 6 to 7 years to for everybody to start using these VR AR devices every day in their life on some use cases,
okay.
Right? So I think as an entrepreneur in this industry, what's important is you can't assume that this day is gonna come like within 3 years or this day will come in 6 years. More importantly, it's better to think about like how you can accelerate the process and how you can push the development of the industry so that it could get there faster. Or within the current environment, how can you make money when the industry is not that big?
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Rebecca, I know we're out of time, but my old friend Russell Flannery here, senior editor at Forbes, is waving his hand frantically and obviously has a burning question. Russell?
Thank you, Anson, frantically, I guess. I hope. Question is for the person who mentioned there are about 10,000 developers working today.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, 3 to 5 years from now, how many of those are still going to be in business, would you say? And what's the profile of the winner 3 to 5 years from now?
Good question. Thanks, Russell. So, Alvin, out of those 10,000 developers?
I think it's actually going to grow to be much larger. So what's happening today, if you look at the developer base for Unity, Unity has about 2.5 million developers around the world for kind of registered licenses. I think Unreal has maybe around 500,000 or something in that order. So there's about 3 million developers in the world building 3D related products. This is not even related to filming and all the other cinematic type things that artists talking about. So of that, right now only essentially a fraction of a percent of people are doing this. In the very near term, pretty much everything that's been done for 3D gaming, mobile gaming, desktop gaming, console gaming that's been done in the last 20 to 30 years, almost all of those assets can be ported and moved into VR, which means that the content richness and variety will be huge. Not to mention all the major studios in the world are all making VR-related movies, interactive or non-interactive. So there is going to be a flood of content. There's going to be, because of this flood of content, a rapid adoption. I think much faster than what Ryan's talking about. But we can have different opinions. So I think there definitely will be some companies who don't make it. Right? But the thing to remember is that not every company of those 10,000 we're building today are dedicated to just doing VR. A lot of them are a mobile game company that now has a team making VR, or they're a console game company, or they're a PC game company, or they're a movie company that now wants to take their movie assets and turn it into VR. So I would imagine almost all of them, or most of those companies are still going to be around. And I think they're going to be really glad they started now. Because that experience level to build VR and the type of design metaphor to build VR or make VR movies is very, very different than making a 2D movie or making a 2D game. So that experience will make them the leaders in space. And at one point, which is very important for all the VCs out there, is I had my team do a study for the last 3 waves of technology, from the PC wave, the internet wave, and the mobile wave, and which period in those, investing in what period in those waves made the most money for the investment. And it was the first 2 years. The companies who became the biggest companies in their industry were all invested and founded in the first 2 years of a new wave forming. So if you want,
So Alvin, you're basically telling everybody, don't wait. Invest in VR today, ladies and gentlemen.
What I'm saying is, if you want to get the biggest winners in the industry in the next 5 years, the ones who are going to be the Intel, the Microsoft, or the Facebook, you need to invest in the first 2 years, right? And
we're out of time. Rebecca's staring at me. Rebecca is staring at me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree, a fascinating panel about VR. I've learned a lot. Please join me in thanking, of course, Alvin, Mark, Archer, and Ryan. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Hey, guys, a quick selfie. I'll give you a quick selfie.